We have to stop imposing our ideas and our goals as fitness professionals on our clients, because that's what we do. I like to conquer things. I don't like something that, there's this thing I can't do. I'm the kind of person, if something proves to be hard to me, I do something and then it's kind of hard, I will do it to prove to myself or to the thing, no matter how insane that sounds, I did this. But it was also a personal journey of just personal discovery and just finding my own path. Because it ended up being a thing of mental growth more than it was physical. There are some days that I was so frail, I didn't have the energy to go up the stairs to my house.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever really told anyone how bad it was, except maybe the people who are around me. It used to get so bad, and I'd have to hold myself on the walls to get to my house.
Welcome to the Shujaa Fitcast. We're here again with more conversations to hopefully inspire you and teach you more about fitness. We're joined today by another guest, another professional in the fitness industry, and we're so fortunate to have someone who is passionate about fitness in a lot of ways, and someone who I know for sure will provide some value in this time that we have with her today. I'm very glad to welcome today Njoki Ndirangu to the studio, and karibu sana.
Thank you.
AKA Body by Queen for all her fans out there.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us
today.
Thank
you for having me.
I think today's conversation will be fun, just based off of the things we've already talked about. Really encouraged by the kind of content you put out, and just the few weeks of getting to know what you do, how you work and stuff like that has been enlightening, because I think your vision about what fitness ought to be is very helpful.
Yeah. And
hopefully you can share some of that with us today.
Absolutely.
So anyway, welcome.
Thank you.
And also you recently held an event. I think that would be an amazing place to start.
Yeah.
You recently tell us about the event you recently had.
Yeah.
And why you put it together, what it entailed, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So thank you for having me, first of all. It's been nice, and it's been a dream come true, let me say, to sit somewhere and authentically put out my voice and what my brand stands for. This is absolutely amazing. So the event he's talking about, I recently put out an event for women. It's called Women Who Lift. And I'm so glad, because the women who came were absolutely proud of that name, because previously lifting was something that we've been singing about, women lifting, and we've been trying to get them to lift. So most of my clientele is women, and the message that I put out there, if you don't know, is to try to get women to look at fitness in a more wholesome way, but also to try to get them to lift. Because I feel like the way we've been handling women in fitness, and especially because it's weight loss and things like that, it's a lot of cardio and a lot of aerobics and things like that. So I wanted women to start to lift more. So I recently put out an event that sold out, because I was looking for 10 women. I got my 10 women.
Yeah.
That was fantastic, because it was a fast event. I've done boot camps before and everything. I used to have a different brand before, actually.
Which brand was it?
I was called Fitmania Africa, and I had a partner. It's been an entire journey. So when we broke off, I think in around 2020, I had to, and thank you, because now I know I've done a good job, because most of you don't know that. Most of you know Body by Queen.
Body by Queen, yeah.
There used to be a pre-existing brand called Fitmania Africa, but people are... So thank you. That means I've done a good job at Body by Queen. So it was a conversation about women lifting for their curves, because that is something that I feel like we shame women for. A woman will come to you and she'll tell you, oh, this is what I want. And we're very fast to tell them, oh, no, your body won't, you lose fat in one particular area. It's fine, they are fact. But there is more to fitness than women losing weight. Women now want to lift for their calves, want to look in a particular way, and it's doable. We have to stop telling them, we have to stop imposing our ideas and our goals as fitness professionals on our clients, because that's what we do. We assume every woman who is curvy and comes to you wants to lose weight. It's not true. So I put together a group of women to come and we learn, because for me, I feel like it doesn't, these are women who'd been lifting before and who'd been training before. So training was not a problem.
Okay.
The disconnect between what they are currently doing and what they want is a mindset shift. And as you know, just pointing them to the direction of telling them, first of all, your goals are valid, and a mindset shift of this is what you want and this is how to do it, because they already know what to do. Every trainer can give you lunges and squats and hip thrust, and every trainer can give you that. But what is the disconnect we have between women? This is what they want and this is what they're getting, because they've been lifting for a while, they've been training for a while, but they're still not getting the results that they want. Sometimes it's a mindset shift of telling them, your goals do not have to be what the fitness industry has portrayed out there, because we think, when you think about fitness, you think about abs, you think about the skinny. Not everyone wants that. Shredded. No, everyone. Women don't want that. So why are we imposing as the fitness professionals our goals and our ideas of fitness on them? So that's what the event was about. We held it at Fitness Mania, My Fitness Mania, which is in Parklands, and it was an absolutely beautiful event. It's an event that's going to be taking place thrice an year at the beginning of the year to help women set their goals and resolutions that actually last, because people have a problem with that. We make resolutions, and then by the end of January or start of Feb, we have drawn off. So I taught them how to make resolutions. I could say that I'm a person who says when I do something, I'm going to do it. I feel like I have kind of cracked the formula. I don't know. Maybe because end of 2021, I wanted to do bodybuilding. Come 2020, I said, I'm going to do a show. And I actually went ahead and did it. All the things that I said I was going to do last year, I did. End of last year, I said this year I wanted to put out a women's event. Start of January, fantastic, done it.
And that, going on a bodybuilding stage, that's not just something you can skip over, because that's like extreme. That's a hard goal. Tell us a bit about, before you just skip over it. Yeah, what was that like?
I want to think about if it's the hardest thing that I've done before. Maybe close.
Physically. Not even.
I've done a couple of hard things physically. I was in the karate national team.
Oh yes, which we'll talk about. Okay, yeah.
So that's true. Also hard. But let me say, I can say it's the hardest thing that I've done physically, because you see, even when I was doing martial arts, my body was still getting fueled. So in bodybuilding, it's hard because you're training hard, but also you're in a deficit most of the time. Food is also a problem, because you see, if you're training hard and you're eating fine, okay, so your recovery is okay. But this,
you're deprived.
Oh my goodness. It was the hardest thing. Yes, you're right. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. And it was, let me see what prompted me to do it. I don't know.
Are you the type of person who needs like a big goal to like get you going? It sounds like it's almost,
I think like so. I think so. And I think it's also a case of, I've been an athlete my entire life,
which makes sense.
So I've been doing sports my entire life competitively. I used to sprint, then I went to do martial arts, table tennis, badminton. I've done so many sports.
Wow.
So when I left the national team, and then so fitness for me was a natural transition from sports to fitness. I wanted to see how I could make this a career, so I got fitness. And then so there was a period of my time where I was not competing, and that was very unusual for me.
Off-season.
Off-season. It's very unusual. So now what are the sports when you come to fitness? It's bodybuilding. It's a lot of them. Let me actually tried a couple of things, because I learned weightlifting. I'm like, yeesh, nope. Then I went on to learn CrossFit. Did it for a while. I was like, no. Then now bodybuilding. So like, for sure I tried. Okay. Then I said I was going to try bodybuilding. I was already training hard. That was not a very difficult aspect of it. But now came the dieting.
Yeah.
That was It's actually more mental than it is physical. But of
course, did you have a coach with you for that particular show?
I'm not going to say I had a coach. So I had people guiding me. I'm not going to say that I had a coach. And in bodybuilding is because you think this person has done it, I'm going to get them to help me too. But it's very different because this is a place where you're directly messing with your body in terms of your energy input, in terms of it, especially now as a lady. It gets to a place where if your body fat is dangerously low, and then now your hormones are going to be messed up. So that's very tricky. You need to be very sensitive about how you handle that. But because I was like, it's okay, I'm ready to go. And I had a lot of support, which I really thank God for, because bodybuilding is a luxury. It's not something that you have to wake up one day and say, oh, I'm going to do it. Things have to be right for you to do it. Because even in terms of finances, the amount of money that you pour into it is madness. The amount of, you can't be working. If your schedule is crazy, your energy is low. You faint and it's nuts. It's as crazy as it sounds.
Honestly, I just like, because when I started my personal fitness journey, I would watch a lot of bodybuilders doing their thing on YouTube and stuff. And I that's the one thing I love to watch it. But to be honest, that journey, I don't know, maybe one day I'll get inspired like you, but whoa. It's not easy.
And I don't think it was much more of an inspiration. For me, it's just a thing of saying, I like to conquer things. I don't like something that, there's this thing I can't do. Let me tell you, I will do this thing until, that's how I ended up on the Stairmaster for one.
Oh, wow.
I did that challenge last year in October. So I'm the kind of person, if something proves to be hard to me, I do something and then it's kind of hard, I will do it to prove to myself or to the thing, no matter how insane that sounds, I did this. So for me, it was a matter of trying to maybe to get back into sports and see if something I can do. But also I wanted to see if I could conquer this, because at the time I was also going through a breakup.
Okay. Fighting your demons in the gym. There's a lot of us out there.
I was going through a breakup. That's the time that I was starting to rebrand my business. So I needed to do something very extreme that would first of all prove to me that I can be a different person, that I still am a strong person. Actually, for me, it was not even more of the fitness part. This was more of a thing to rebrand my business first of all, because I think that's when now Body by Queen was really starting to show up. So it was a thing of rebranding, but it was also a personal journey of just personal discovery and just finding my own path, because it ended up being a thing of mental growth more than it was physical, because then I found I had a lot of support. I'd really appreciate that. It's something you can't do alone. I had a lot of support even in terms of work where I used to work. It used to entail me training for 3 hours to 3.5 hours in a day. You see, so my colleagues at work, my manager at work at that particular point, the few friends, that time was hard because I just also moved to a new town. I had a lot going on. I needed this one thing that was constant. And I was doing, and that was very present as everything else was shifting.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Before you go any further, because I feel like you've already touched on so many things.
So many things.
Let's go back.
Yeah.
The way I like to start this is what got you into fitness in the first place? Tell us your journey from the beginning.
Yeah. As I've said, so I've always been really active, an active kid. I was a sprinter in primary, high school. I studied martial arts in high school, which is kind of funny because I thought it was normal. And then as I went to uni, as we'd go to competitions, because I started getting vetted for the national team when I was in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was normal, but then we soon realized this is not a sport that is in a lot of schools.
Yeah. You said it's karate.
Yeah.
Yeah, not maybe taekwondo.
Yeah.
Taekwondo.
And especially in a girls' school.
Yeah. That's a very
normal.
No, it's not normal.
Surprise.
Yeah.
So even when we went to tournaments, a lot of our opponents and people who we'd play with were people in uni. Find ourselves as the only high school.
Wow.
Yeah. So in high school that's when I did a couple of sports. I did karate, I did badminton, table tennis, and then went to uni, continued, of course, with martial arts. That's when I got to the national team, actually. In uni, used to play for the university team. We even went for a couple of East African games and things like that.
It's a thriving, like martial arts. I'm so blank. I don't
That's the thing.
Yeah, so...
I find that very interesting because the human brain is so funny. The way we live, we think everyone else lives like us. We don't know there's an entire different world and things out there. But yeah, it's a whole world that exists. People have tournaments. Our national team recently, they've been out going for tournaments and things, but you wouldn't know because it's in your line of whatever.
Yeah. Is it publicized as much as it ought to be? Okay, because I feel like that's another
it's not. Actually, it's another thing that we used to strive for, because then that, of course, affects the quality of even your kits, your everything. We used to struggle a lot. So then I did that for, I think did martial arts for maybe 9-10 years.
Wow.
I tell that and it surprises people.
Yeah, you are dedicated for sure.
Yeah, I think with sports I'm a very extreme. So here's the thing. As a kid, I felt like I wasn't a very smart kid.
Okay.
But I was very good in sports. So my younger brother is like the smartest in our family. Clean A's even in his sleep. And then I'm very good outdoors and with sports. Anything physical, wake me up I wouldn't play chess if you paid me $5 million. But if you told me to learn football today, by tomorrow, I could be picked up for a local team. I am a HR by profession.
Okay.
I am a HR by profession. That's usually hard to believe.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I was very excited about pursuing. So after I played my last tournament, East African Championship, which was in TZ, for JKUAT University, I was like, what do I want to do? You're done, you've graduated. Your parents are waiting for you to get a job.
Get serious.
By the way, that's one fight we've always had with them. They think this is something that I will grow out of. But I think recently, they've realized,
she's going. She's still going.
This is happening. So then I started to ask myself, what? Because of course sports don't pay in this country. So fitness was a natural progression from sports, because I wanted to look at something that I could be paid for me to be active. One time I was doing an internship, because immediately after that whole pressure trying to figure things out and everything, I did an internship at, I think it was called Engage. And when I was leaving, that lady told me, please, she didn't even know what I was doing, that I'm an active person or anything, I'm into sports or anything. She told me, can you please get a job that does not involve you sitting? Because I think you have too much energy. And sitting down irritates you. Because I used to get to the office in the morning and I would help the cleaning lady, which is not very professional for a HR. You're dressed up in a nice dress,
at your
sit
desk,
down and calm down. And
typing your Excel sheets.
But I'm like, now as an intern, you're waiting to be given work.
Oh yeah, that's the other side. And that's
if
the
there's anything that I don't do is sitting down and pretending to work.
Yeah.
I'm pretending to work. There's no work. I'm just pretending to work.
But there are a lot of people at a desk right now doing that exact thing.
It doesn't add up to me. I feel like it's even more tiring. So what I used to do is, because as an intern at that particular time, you do work that you're given. I'm done with the work that I was given. I'm not going to sit down for my boss to see that I'm working. I'd go to the kitchen, the lady who's supposed to, because people used to, sometimes she leaves at 5, people have meetings until late, they've left the dishes that they used the previous day. So I'd go, we have a small chit chat, and this is very unprofessional. But it's not like I didn't care. It's more of I don't want to sit down. I get tired very quickly when I sit down. I'd rather be up and moving, then I don't even notice the time moving. So that's when I was leaving, that lady told me, please get a job that you don't have to sit. And then from there, I didn't look for any other job, HR jobs or internships. I always started to be very intentional about going to the gym. Of course, before that, I went to the gym. But now, how can I really turn this into a career, something that I'm getting money out of? I got people along my way to help me, to guide me, to teach me. And here I am.
Yeah. How long... So, when you're saying you're gearing yourself to make fitness a career. You've already been working out. What is that process of like settling into it as a career? What was different? What did you need to learn that gave you now more perspective about what it is you're going to do as a professional?
So of course, getting into it, I had a knowledge of basic fitness, so that was not a problem. But it was a matter of, and I thank God for this trait, I think comes from my dad, to always be open to learning. I like being in rooms where I'm the person who knows the least, because then I believe that's how you become better. So I got people who are way ahead of me. And my first mentor is Steve Young Lion. I don't know if you know him.
Okay, I think I've seen him on IG because of Wamwere.
Oh, it's a very small one. I keep joking. That man's my dad, my fitness dad. We've come from far. When he was even dreaming about being where he is right now, when he was still starting to compete in strongman. So I got Steve. So I had basic knowledge, and even the way I started fitness. So this is what I did. I've just actually even remembered. This is what I did at that particular time when I decided not to get another job. I decided I'm starting fitness. I didn't have a studio. I didn't have a gym. By that time, I couldn't afford a gym membership. But I still had access to JQuat. I went to JQuat. And I was very well known because by the time I was leaving, I was the captain of the team. And I could get in and out. I knew a couple of people. So I decided that I was going to put up a 30-day fitness challenge. Actually, that was my first fitness thing ever. Yeah.
You're such a go-getter. Like, I love it.
And it's funny. I don't notice that until people say it. May think that's just how people do life.
No, people are like, hey, I do this thing. I don't know if you'll be you. You're like, by the way, all of you need to come here and sign up because I am going to change your life.
I didn't even look at it from that perspective.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Now is when I sit back, and sometimes when I'm having maybe resistance towards doing something, is when now the people around me tell me, yo, do you realize
if you're struggling, how radical what should we do?
Are? Yeah. And I'm like, I don't see it until they make me see it. And I really appreciate you saying that, because it validates even the process of when you're stuck and you think someone says that, and you're like, So I put out a poster. We used to live with my brothers. I put out I'm not even the one who made the poster for me, my younger brother. It's called Kevin. He made a poster for me, a very easy poster that says we are doing a 30-day challenge. We'll be training in the morning, 6 to 7, I think. And for the 30 days, I can't even believe it. I used to charge 500 bob.
Okay. For 30 days. Okay.
The
business hadn't caught on. It's
33 shillings.
Yeah. You can't be good at everything. Yeah.
And for me, let me tell you, that time was like, because of course, I'm in Juja, first of all, needs to be a rate that's affordable to students. But I didn't have an idea of what on a charge, fitness and things like that. So I'm like, okay, 500 sounds... In fact, it sounded reasonable. And I was like, let me tell you, if I get 10 people, me, I'm good.
It's 5K, it's a lot.
Let me tell you, I put that poster out and people were signing up. So we were supposed to start on like a Monday. I put out that poster maybe for 1 week, 1.5 weeks out. And then we were meeting. I said I wanted to meet them on Sunday so they can start on Monday. On Sunday we met, just a couple of people came, maybe about 12, 13. So Monday we're supposed to meet at 6 a.m. JQuat in the field. I'm even shaking saying this. Let me tell you, on Monday, 55.
What?
55 people showed up.
Wow.
I've never even thought about this story. Yeah. It's been a long time. 55 people showed up. Let me tell you, I looked at people and I'm like, wait, do you know what you're coming from? As in, do you know where you're coming? Do you know what this is about? Am you guys are just thinking it's a sport? Because in the morning, so many teams are going for sports in the morning. I'm like, you know which group this is? They're like, yeah. So by that time, it's so unbelievable. I've never had to think again about this story. And it's so nice that you reminded me now because, mind-blowing. 55 people showed up.
They all had paid already.
No, I didn't know. So that's why I'm
okay.
getting shocked. 55 people on Atoko Happy. Because on Sunday when I'd met people, there were like 12, 13 people.
Okay, yeah, so that's what the number you were anticipating.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is nice. This is good. We're good.
Yeah.
50. That's like another 35 people.
Yeah.
6 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
And then they paid me that morning.
Yeah, wow.
I'm like, what?
That's
this is
crazy.
insane.
What?
This is
You
insane.
must have felt validated.
No, I was shocked.
Okay.
The validation came way afterwards.
Okay.
Right that morning, it was shock and surprise and what the heck.
I guess it is overwhelming.
Actually, that's the word.
Yeah.
It was overwhelming. I was like, okay, fine. Now, good thing is I was already used to training big crowds. I was the captain of a team. By that time, I think I was also starting to train the JQuA football team
Okay.
for fitness. Because I think that's something they noticed I was very good at. They're like, you can train this team. And then very soon I was training staff. Were JQuat. So they showed up. By that time, I was very radical because of course I was coming from. So now that time I'd left playing karate professionally, I'd gotten into Krav Maga.
Krav Mahu?
I'd gotten into Krav Maga, which is the Israeli Special Forces martial arts. That's what they do. It's very radical. Now that is not sport. Yeah. That's very on training, like gun, knife training. That's
Okay. What inspired you to get into that particular?
No, so now that time, the way I randomly got into it is so now I didn't realize there were not many women doing martial arts at the time. Hey, there's a lot. I was also coaching.
Oh god. It doesn't stop. Who else were you coaching?
I was also coaching
Ruto before
kids.
he was president. Okay.
You know what's funny is that right now I actually train some people from State House. It's not even funny. Yeah. You've mentioned that and it's absolutely almost true.
Hey, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my life?
I'd forgotten about all this. I was also coaching kids in school.
Wow.
Karate. So all this was happening in a very fast pace. So on Facebook, someone asked, I'm looking for a female who's doing martial arts to do classes and blah, 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 blah. So my sensei at the time sent my number. But then when I was reaching out to now Sensei Vincent, I realized it was different. This is not karate. This is another whole thing, Krav Maga.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same, but now this is really more practical. Because you see, for karate on the spot, we are taught to, it's almost non-contact.
Okay.
You have to control because it's a sport. We're almost showcasing.
Okay.
But then when I went into Krav Maga, it's really full on contact.
Self-defense for real.
Self-defense for real. This is even more than self-defense. When I say it's the martial arts that Israeli forces do, it's really that. Because even for training, we'd use real knives.
Wow.
If it's a class for guns, we'd have guns in class.
What? Okay,
I'm not even.
This is self-offense.
Yes, I'm not even kidding. And then now rolling with him for a while, we had some guys and some trainers from Mauritius. Actually, I think the guy who trains them came. And I used to be the only lady in class.
Wow.
And it was so crazy. Oof. I've lost a couple of toes.
What? What do you... Hold on.
I mean, my toenails.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, my toenails. And it's so crazy. Sometimes you're thrown in a pool. We used to fight in a pool. I have no idea how to swim.
What?
It was so crazy. Now that I'm thinking about it, when I'm like, I did that. So yeah, through that time, so I'm also doing this thing in JQuad. People finish the 30-day challenge. So this whole story of me telling you this was to tell them by that time, the way I was training these people, these students, because of course they were students, was very radical, was very army, intense martial arts kind of way. You show up in the class or you're out. This is what we're doing. It used to be crazy. Yeah. It used to be crazy. Yeah. And I did that for the 30 days. And then when it was coming close to the 30 days, and it was insane because I didn't realize how much. I thought it was normal. After we finished the challenge, because we took progress pics and things like that, and our weights. I had students lose in 30 days because I didn't count it as a month because we do Monday to Friday. So I'd count the 30 days. I had students lose 10 kgs. I'm not even lying.
Yeah. Wow.
10 kgs, 9, 10, 11. And that was, it was not mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing to me now that I'm completely, in the industry and as a coach, and I realize how insane that was. But by then I was like, oh, that's nice.
Success. I mean, it was a success
nice.
at that point. Yeah.
And then close to the end of the 30 days, I'd ask myself, okay, what now?
Did you have anyone drop out or everyone start?
No, guys, of course, would drop.
Yeah.
You're being trained military style. Going for runs
How many
in the morning.
Did you have at the end?
I'd say maybe about 20 something.
Okay, so almost half.
Yeah, almost half. It was crazy.
Yeah.
You're training military style. So that also tells you the amount of learning and unlearning I've had to do as a coach from that training style to how I do now. So now from doing those 30-day challenges, I was doing another one. And then the other one now. So here's the thing. I had gyms from outside. People heard about it. And I didn't know they were coming. So some of them signed up to the challenge and signed people up for the challenge to just see and come and benchmark. Who the hell is this chick? She's doing something that's never... So they'd been thinking about doing this. We talked about that.
Yeah.
But they'd not done it. So there were just gyms, maybe local gyms around in Juja, having people come to the gym, waiting for the business to come. I went and put up something in JKUAT and I'm like, this is what I'm charging. You guys come. And people showed up like madness. So people were looking for me.
Yeah.
Who's this girl and what the heck? And then now I had this one guy who was really vested in whatever it is I was doing, and also one more person. But that whole situation ended in a very ugly way because, this one person, we partnered, Collins, and we worked together. That's the person who I built a brand with. And that was really good and really nice. But then this other person was someone who had vested interest. I think it's a weakness that I have, but then somehow God and the universe have put people in my life to be able to see that for me. I think I'm the kind of person who loves people, and I'm like, until you prove me to be a bad person, you're a good person to me. Normally, the way people think is until I won't trust you, until I have a reason to trust you. For me, it's the other way around.
Yeah, guilty until proven innocent. But for you, it's innocent until proven guilty. Yeah.
So that has backfired on me a couple of times, but it's not in my nature to just be. I don't abandon my values for. That's your own problem. You've chosen to betray me. That's not on me. The person who I am, I'm not going to change the kind of person who I am. I love and just believe people are good people. It gets you hurt, but now when you get the real ones, it also feels really good. So I had this one person who could see this is going to blow up, and I've had that a couple of times. And when they came in, they shared my dream and everything, and their work was supposed to be maybe doing the tech, social media, managing stuff for me and everything. And then now in the end, they started claiming that the brand was theirs. And it turned so ugly because now when I matched with this other guy, he had his own gym. Because then after running now the challenges for a while, we're like, so I had the people, he had the space. Because now eventually I would have to transition into, now what are we doing? It's no longer these challenges. What's the next step? So we merged. Now, hence that brand Fitmania, because his was called Muscle Pump. And then actually we merged, and then the brand was just, because I was Fitmania Africa by the time. So we chose to start with that because it sounded like something much bigger. So he's the one who told me, this guy is, things are going down the road. I think you need to shut this down. He could see something I couldn't. I was like, okay. So I told this other guy, because he would claim we were doing all the work. Because in fitness, if you're training the people, you're the one doing all the work. All this, the social media and everything, this is just extra. You can't be claiming that now you own the brand because you're just posting a pic or two on social media. You see. So it became a very huge issue. Guys like, I'm going to sue you. It was a huge thing.
Wow.
It was a huge thing.
How many years were you a trainer by this point? Or how long had you been? Because I'm trying to piece it together and I'm like...
No, that's the thing. People
40 years or 4. I don't know which one it is.
People come back to ask me how old are you because of this story.
All the experiences. I'm like, what?
It sounds like I've lived 52 years.
Yeah.
No, this was like... 1 year into it.
Okay.
But I think it's because now things were growing so fast.
Yeah.
By the way, my entire journey usually sounds like it's 15 years.
Time.
Imagine in 1 year, I'd gone through all that. So we just told him, yo, it's fine. You just do whatever it is you want to do. I have the proof of work, proof of everything. It's okay if you want to go forward. Of course he didn't. He was just bluffing. And I'm glad I had a good support system. So then I did that for a while. We matched with this guy and it was really successful. We were doing in Shujaa, if you spoke fitness, they would tell you that. Yeah. And at that time we were dating, so it was also like the brand was also couple fitness. Okay. So that was really huge.
So dope selling point.
Oof. Yeah. It was. And I'm really glad because I learned a lot from him. A lot. In fact, I really say a lot of what I know about fitness is from him because at that time I was still coaching from a sports perspective. Okay, yeah. He was coaching from the fitness perspective. So I learned a lot. And then now COVID came. It was hard. We lost our studio. We couldn't pay the rent. It was crazy because, as you know, Shujaa, because of JKUAT, is a student populated area. And everyone's home. So it was hard. We lost our studio, couldn't pay the rent. Went home, stayed for a while. And then now when we came back is when we realized now we didn't even lose it before. We just went home for COVID and then said we'd come and figure it out later. When we came back is when we realized, this is, unfortunately, we have to shut this down. So we did. Hey, I've just realized I need to write a book.
You do.
At this point.
There's a lot.
At this point. Because then after we lost the studio, and then we stayed for a while. And then he went to Coast, I guess. Because at that point, we were very uncertain. Part of his family lives in Mombasa. And he went, and then, so we're like, no, what now? And then now we moved from Shujaa to Kimbo. It's just still in Thika Road. And then... this is actually what made me believe I really can do anything. Because I was alone at that point. And I'm like, we have to set this up again. So we moved to a new town. Kimbo. Actually, I think I moved and he joined me. I can't even remember. And there was this sports center. It's called Bola Sports Park. It's in Kimbo, opposite GSU. And we went, saw the space. They have a small gym, but they didn't have a trainer. So they've majored on all other sports. It's like a talent center. They have a football pitch, a studio, or whatever. But their gym was really just like a small area. And I went and I asked this guy who's here, who's the manager, gave me the number, called the lady. She's called Ella, a very lovely lady. And I'm like, I'd like to do something with you. Let me tell you something. What's funny is that she ended up building an entire gym. We ended up managing the entire space.
In that space?
Yeah.
She expanded the spot?
She made the gym.
Okay.
An entire whole other space. Wow. Made the gym.
Because of you initiating that conversation?
Yeah, we convinced her. We're like, put it up.
Wow. Okay.
We will do this thing with you.
Yeah.
So now the agreement there was, we were not even employed. It was more of a partnership. And now it turned out, and so I called back the guy and told, yo, we have work, come back. That's a whole other part of this. We are not going to go into. Yeah. So we ended up managing the entire space. So setting up in a new town, no one knows us. Shujaa was a very good starting point because people know us and everything. It's nice to refer. This is a new town. It's starting again from scratch. People have no idea who the heck you are.
And this is after COVID.
This is after COVID.
Yeah.
You see now, even if you're saying after COVID, we still have the repercussions of COVID up to right now. Yeah. So this was immediately 2021. Yeah. So things also, we are still wearing masks, exactly. You see. Yeah. So business was also not really good. So at that point, we realized one of us, which was me, needed to get a job. Of course, that's the gym. I'm not getting any other job. So I looked, and I didn't even look, actually. I was called. Actually, I've never had to look for a job. Thank God.
With all the movement that's been happening in this history that we're learning,
I've never had to look for a job. I thank God for that.
Yeah, I mean, you're clearly the type of person who has done enough moving for things to now
start moving on their own.
Yeah.
I was called, and they're like, "Yo, we need a lady to come in," because I think they had a lot of guys, but now they were looking for a female trainer. And I went in. So this is a gym around Nasra. It's called the Yona. It's a gender separated gym, which is a very brilliant model because it's in an area where it's situated a lot of Muslim women. You understand their culture. So I went in. So at that time, burnout ilianza kunichapa because I was doing PT. I almost had three jobs because I was doing PT. I was going there and doing an 8-hour shift, and then I was going back to our business. So I did that for a while and realized this is burning me out because I was commuting every day. Thika Road every day.
Kwanza Thika Road.
Pana matatus. In a day, I would be on 6 matatus. 6. Yeah. 3 going to work, 3 going back. After a while, that was very draining, and then I realized I need to move closer to work. So I moved closer to where I was working, and then my partner and I. Now, of course, that was very hard to manage, so we decided to part ways, and gracefully, I just decided to leave the business. You can imagine that's something that I'd pushed for and worked for, and I literally put that place up. But I decided this is too much. I need to maybe just find my footing. So now that's the point where I decided, bodybuilding would be. Yeah, so of course throughout this entire place, I am learning from people, Akina Steve, meeting people in the fitness industry. And I guess at that time, bodybuilding was a bit appealing, and I needed something that was constant. You see now how everything else was shifting. Now you understand what I was saying. I needed this one thing that was at least constant and just building a base and a foundation. And then now, because I needed to rebrand as a person individually, because previously people knew us, together as a pair. So now that was kind of the basis of rebranding for Body by Queen. It's a lot. Even I didn't know it was that much.
That's crazy. I mean, but the bringing it back to the fitness side, I feel like what you said is really key in terms of, because I can relate to it, where there's so much happening around you, and you kind of held on to fitness as the thing that grounded you. And I feel like that's been my experience with my own personal journey. Because with all the different shifts in my life, whether it's because I started my journey seriously in uni. And then just through learning my way around the world, because I studied in Canada. And so I was there for 6 years in total, studied 4 years, worked for 2 years. So with all the different transitions, broke life abroad, trying to figure things out, loneliness, etc. Throughout all the different transitions, the one thing that I can think of that I would always go to is that I need to get to the gym.
You were still working out at that time?
So like, because my journey started 2013. And I started uni 2012. So 2013 is when I started actually going to the gym. So throughout just like uni struggles, work struggles, all this stuff, when I think back, and even now moving back home, trying to refigure life out again, it's gym is the one thing, or exercise training has been that thing that I can always ground myself with during the day. And I think for a lot of people, I think for me, that's one of the things I wish I could find a really good way to communicate to other people, because we noticed throughout all this, we haven't talked about 10 reps is better than 12 or 4 is better than 5. It's like we've talked about how fitness helped you manage a crazy time in your life. Same with me, like I might have not been doing the most optimal workout, but if I didn't go to the gym, I would feel like crap. Those intangibles are usually the things that I find would sell fitness the best, but are the hardest to really communicate.
You are so right. Absolutely. Because we have not mentioned
programming, whatnot.
No, in fact, a lot of my fitness journey it's other sports. We've talked about martial arts and Oof, you're right. I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah. So talk about the other thing I would love to hear is you talked about the unlearning that you had to do. So talk about what are some of those things you had to unlearn, because you started from a place of high intensity, all that stuff,
hardcore fitness.
Who pointed out to you that scale it back? How did you start to learn the benefits of recovery, stuff like that?
Hey, let me mention this woman's name before. Nduta Maina. So who I just recently met last year, but because when I delved into bodybuilding, first of all, there were, let me say, 2 shifts. First of all, coming from the shift of, let me say, 3. I came from a place of being the only lady in a room full of men, training hardcore wise, to training, because that challenge was full of a lot of ladies. So there was that transition, even in the way I would handle them. I think we've talked about that before. So there was that first shift.
Hi there. So I know the fitness journey can be a bit daunting, and it's for this reason that I wrote my ebook, The Basics to a Better Body. This ebook is available via the Shujaa Fitness Instagram. You can click the link in the bio or DM to receive the book. It goes for only 500 shillings. It's a quick, simple, easy way to begin your fitness journey. Fitness has a lot of times been inundated with too much information and a lot of misleading information at that, and I felt that it's necessary to come up with something that will help anybody out there who's just looking for a quick, simple way to get started on this journey. So I hope it helps you out. Just wanted to let you know that that's available. Again, go to the Shujaa Fitness Instagram, click the link in the bio or DM to receive the book, The Basics to a Better Body. It's a very easy read, not very long. Comes with 2 free workout programs. These workout programs are very detailed. You'll know exactly what you need to do and how to do it. There's also links included to show you how to do each exercise. Check it out. Check out The Basics to a Better Body, and all the best out there.
The second one was, I thought bodybuilding. Okay, so here's the thing. When I was now reshifting my brand, I was coming from a place of being and understanding or going all hard as a lady. Okay, my entire life, I've just realized that now my entire identity has been solidified by being the only chick who can do hard things. Subconsciously, not intentionally, subconsciously. And then now my whole message was trying to get other ladies to do these hard things, not realizing, first of all, you don't have to do hard things. If you don't want to, you don't have to. I've grown up, I have 2 brothers.
Only girl.
So subconsciously, my entire identity, even as a person, and the way I related to people, was feeling like I was the only chick. And hence, it was solidified by so many experiences. Class year Krav Maga, I used to be the only chick in an entire group of maybe 10, 14, 15 men. Yes.
And here you are training all these girl totos, and they're not understanding
why you're so intense. They'd look at me and they'd wonder, what is wrong with you? Why are you so... First of all, there was that point of, oh my God. And then there's another point of admiration about how hard the things I can do. But then very soon, my clientele changed. Now, this is the shift that I was talking about, because when I moved from Juja and came to that gym, I was training students, people younger than me or my age. And then now I went to training people who are way older than I am. You can't train them like that. You can't. You need to slow down. It's very different. So that was the first point of learning when my clientele changed, because then you realize the kind of things that they're looking for, the kind of things that they can do, and you train them, and their recovery is so different. Also, the way you speak to them, the way you relate to older women and older people than you, because of course a lot of, if not all, my clientele is people who are older than I am, and I take that as a very big blessing, because I get to learn more from these people than they even realize. That was the second shift. The third shift was now after I did bodybuilding, and I was lucky enough to meet Nduta before that identity solidified. Because yes,
just in time for it to
let me tell you, she got it just in time. It's like, no, stop it. Stop it right there.
Wow.
Don't you dare go down that road. And first of all, I didn't understand why. Because you see, everything that's on our social media, Instagram and whatever.
Go hard or go home.
Go hard or go home. And it's muscled women in bikinis, which is bodybuilding. Bodybuilding, I mean, fitness in Kenya, and people don't realize fitness and weight loss is not bodybuilding. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
And then, like, God forbid you even mention weights.
Woo.
Like, what do you? I'm not training for Mr. Kenya. Calm down.
Actually, that's the thing that comes to mind. Any first client you get and everything, they'd be very quick to tell you, I know me, I don't want to look like a bodybuilder, which tells you how much publicizing bodybuilding has in Kenya. And so now, do I say normal people? by normal people, I'm saying now, the normal population that consumes fitness content, if that is all they find on social media, they tend to think that is all fitness is about. So when I did my first show, immediately I shared my entire journey on social media, and it was by that time now Body by Queen solidified kabisa. I was very happy about that, and it was grueling. It was a very grueling experience. And I shared everything, all my days, it was 90 days because it was 3 months. I prepped for 12 weeks.
Oh.
It was absolute madness. And I got through it. So I think the reason why my brand solidified at that particular time is because the way I would share my journey is not the ideal kind of way, oh, look at me, I can do everything. I moved from that to... I showed people even the days that I was going to the gym and I didn't want to do anything. Some days I would go and I'd tell people, guys, today I'm in the gym, because Saturdays sometimes I would train early in the morning at 5 a.m. or at 4:30. And I would go and I'd get there and it's not even a matter of not feeling like doing it. I'd not have enough energy. And I'd just go and come and tell guys, today, day 122, and I just go to the gym and I'm not going to do this. I was very raw about the entire process. Days I would even... And it's funny because we're talking about you don't just be another person on camera showing... There are days that I would think like that. Is it absolutely necessary for me to show my journey like this? Because even the days that I was crying, I would show people.
Okay.
I have cried on camera. And not the crying that's that social media influencer crying. It's really the days that I was so beat down. I get home. There are some days that I was so frail. I didn't have the energy to go up the stairs to my house.
Wow. Sheesh.
And I don't think I've ever really told anyone how bad it was, except maybe the people who are around me. It used to get so bad. And I'd have to hold myself on the walls to get to my house. So now sharing things like that, but people didn't even know how bad it was. That bad. It was very relatable because by then I would get so many DMs. Hi, did you manage to go to training today? How was it? So much support from so many strangers. It was very interesting because you'd get someone checking in and they're telling you, and there are people who did the 12 weeks with me. But now then they were not doing bodybuilding. They were doing, you know what, I'm going to do this thing with you. I just want to see how many results I can do. Yeah, how much I can do by the end of it. I had like 10 people doing the challenge with me. And every day they would check in with me. Oh, did you work out? Oh, did you do this? I'm feeling like this today. Random strangers on the internet. That was so lovely. Yeah. But also it was so hard. So now when I got done and I did my show, the internet is such a powerful tool. I had people who I was talking to on Instagram, never met, not my friends, come to my show.
Oh, to the actual show, okay.
So that day I was meeting people. They're like, hi. Because of course that day, first of all, I'm very confused. I don't know what's happening. It's my first show. You have these people who've been doing bodybuilding for a while. You have people getting their turn on and everything. The person who was supposed to do my turn was late. Tonight I went on stage. I didn't even go on stage with my tag.
Oh no.
I know where my tag was. Because bodybuilding is so funny. You show up on stage alone, but it takes a whole village to get you there. You can't do anything on your own. I don't know where my shoes are, my hair, my makeup. It is so draining. So that they're meeting people like, hi, you're Body by Queen on Instagram. I'm like, yeah, hi. you're
yeah, so and so.
This person. That was so, I found that very interesting.
Yeah.
Then after that, I said that I was doing a 12-week transformation challenge. And I think in the middle of that, in like 2 weeks, Nduta put out her poster that she was doing a masterclass. So Nduta is a trainer's trainer. She put it out and I was like, this is interesting. Didn't think much of it. And then I saw Fitness by Stephanie post it and said they were sponsoring people, 10 people I think to go to the event. 5 I think to go to the event. I'm like, okay, fine. This thing is all over. We might as well go and see. So I told Stephanie, I'd like to grab one of those sponsored tickets. And she's like, okay, cool, you show up. That day I had to be very particular what is being eaten, what's being served. I was, I think, 2 weeks to my show, I've remembered.
Okay.
Yeah. And I went and she was asking each one of us, what do you do? Oh, she's a fantastic coach. Yeah. She was asking, can you imagine we were like in a room of 20 trainers and all of us had the time to tell her what it is you are doing, what it is you want to do, what it is you want your brand to look like. Because one thing we don't realize as fitness professionals is, fine, you've gone to school or whatever, you've learned about fitness. But the business of fitness is a whole other ball game. No one teaches you that. Yeah.
You know what's interesting? It reminds me of something I've heard said before about the music business. Is that the words music business is bigger than the word
than
music.
The music.
Yeah.
I totally think so. Because you think as a musician, you're talented, you're good.
Yeah, you're good. Make money, that's it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's a similar concept for fitness.
I absolutely think so, because especially in this industry, people think as long as you know how to train people, you're good. And especially the ones who are there, quote unquote, think they're there on the top. There's so many things they haven't figured it out. And it will take them some time. And the concept of learning, thinking you're there, you don't want to learn, because especially as trainers, you're used to coaching.
Yeah, you're the teacher.
Who's telling you anything?
Yeah.
Meet Nduta, you will know what you don't know. You will realize you don't know anything. So she was very quick. That is where. But even then, I didn't understand, because you've asked me what was the turning point. And then I think when I went for the second one, is when I realized, she was like, you need to nip this in the bud right now before people start thinking body. Because she asked me, she asked us and everyone, and for me, and she asked, what do you want to be known for? And this is fun because this was just in the recent. We've gone for a number of masterclasses, and this is why I met Wamwere.
Shout out.
Yeah. Lovely woman. And she was already doing this from a different perspective, I think. If you've not watched that episode, go and watch, because hers is so different. She's coming from now not a sports person's perspective, because mine is very radical. It was almost obvious I would end up in fitness. It took me a couple of those meetings and those classes to figure out, because she asked me, what do you want your brand to stand for? And I told her, I want women to realize that, first of all, the fitness industry does not have to determine what fitness looks like for them. I want women to lift. There's this thing that I keep saying. In fact, that was the name for my Women Who Lift. And then it was kind of the tagline for fitness, for Fitmania Africa, for my previous brand, strong and beautiful, because I felt for the longest time possible, I had to choose between being strong and being
beautiful,
a baby girl.
Okay.
Because it's kind of like, if you can lift. And right now, that's the thing. When I meet people like this, there's a certain nini we have around. It's like bodybuilding. These are hardcore women, even the way we present it. So it's either you kind of have to choose. And women, I just wanted to let women know they don't have to choose between being strong and being beautiful. They're not opposites. They can exist.
Yeah.
So she asked me, so now where does bodybuilding fall? You realize bodybuilding is the opposite of that. Not entirely. To you, you know it's not. But the way you're selling it to the normal... The problem with trainers is that we think everyone thinks about fitness
the way we do.
The way we do. Yeah. I know standing on stage in a bikini with abs and everything, it's beautiful to me. But to the entire population of your clientele that you're trying to sell to, it's absolutely intimidating. Yeah. And you cannot go around telling them and trying to impose that on them. You need to start thinking like your clients. So that was the other shift for me that made it. Of course, now that also changed the way I train, because most of my clientele is women. There is a huge, this is also from Duta, just learning and thinking everyone has to be radical. But then she taught us that there's a very huge empathy gap in our fitness industry. And we think it's being weak. Because there's this whole go hard or go home. If you can't do it right, you don't do it at all. Can we relax? I have, this is the thing, I've lived both.
You've lived that life,
I've come from there. Not everyone has to live like that. And entirely, especially when you come to the normal world, if you're not a sports person, it's not entirely necessary for you to go to the extreme of doing it like that. Because then it feels like, and I think Rachel said that, the perfectionist idea, if you can't do it in a perfect way, then don't do it at all. You see? Yeah. So that I had to change that entire message. I had to rebrand completely. So from last year, at around, maybe my show was in March, from around April, my birthday was in May. From around May, the work that has been done to try and rebrand and just push and bridge the empathy gap in this industry, that's what I've been working on. And because now this is what people identify with, I'm really glad and happy to see that it's changed.
By the way, I mean, that other person you're talking about, I don't even know her.
Are you serious?
You know what I mean? Yeah, because like, we just connected not too long ago.
Yeah.
So my idea of you stems from like a month max of seeing your stuff.
Yeah.
And what I get is a lot of empathy.
Yeah.
Is like a lot of, by the way, just eat bread. It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't kill yourself trying to eat. Yeah, like it's a lot of flexibility. Yeah. Which is something that also Wamwere really spoke about when she was here. And I think also for me personally, because my entry into fitness was watching a lot of bodybuilders. And
that tells you how much that is publicized. Because even you as a trainer getting into it, thinking that bodybuilding is fitness.
Was fitness, yeah. And so I had to also go through my own transition in my thinking of, I think it even began just for myself before anything. Because I was like, okay, I probably have to accept that I will never have 21-inch arms. Let's just start there. You know, let's start there and then let's break it down.
Okay, they're not 21 inches, but he looks fine.
Thank you. So, but those things, and I think a lot of people struggle with those things, you know, like comparing yourself to what you're seeing. And then also we're comparing ourselves to the 0.001% of genetic freaks who live that life completely,
who look like that for 1 week of their life,
but they take the most photos on that week, so they have content for the whole year.
They look like that all the time.
Exactly. So
social media is a lie, people.
It's bad. So I feel like you represent the fight against that in a really good way, which is why I'm really fortunate to have you here to talk about it. And I think it's a message that needs to be shared a lot more, which you've done a really good job of. And even me, for myself, it's a brainwashing that I had to come out of as well. Because even for men, it's the you know, there's the whole, like, you wear your hoodie to go to the gym with your jug of BCAAs and you lift until you throw up and you just, but it's
that's like, what being a man is.
Yeah. It's like at the end of the day, you're getting burnt out, you know, and chances are you have to work a normal job. So your life is not fitness. You're not even going to be able to dedicate your life as much as a pro is.
You don't even need to.
And you don't need to.
You don't even want to.
Exactly.
This is the thing. We think because you don't want something, it's a bad thing.
Like it's a judgment on yourself.
It's a judgment on yours. Imagine if you don't want to, it's okay if you don't want to. There are other lives to be lived, honestly. And now for me to be able to say that, because people usually stand and say, oh, you can't be able to say that, you haven't. I have been on that stage, and I can tell you for sure, because I think I needed time to even like process it on my own, because I haven't talked about, I think it's the first time that I'm openly talking about it, because then there's a whole other aspect of personal growth in terms of, you realize there's a whole industry, people who you've crossed paths with, and people who at that time validation meant a lot.
Okay, athletes, because you're with the top people.
So for me to even stand at a point and say, because after I did my first show, there was so much pressure to do Eldoret show, and I was supposed to prep for it. Rupa's Fitness, which was, I think, Eastern Africa, Mr. Eastern Africa Bodybuilding. There was so much pressure to do that. And I had to go. And that time I was undergoing a transition from now that full-time job, the story continues, to now full-time doing PT. I quit my job in last year, around June. I quit my job. I was going fully into PT. That whole rebranding thing was also going at that time. Bodybuilding is not something, as much as this guy is, it's fine. I'll get dragged for this, but it's fine. Openly, I'd say it's almost a very toxic community. They will not take me anywhere, so it's fine.
Why do you say it's toxic?
The reason why I'm saying it's toxic is because sometimes you'd be made to feel, if you're not on stage, if you're not prepping for a particular show, then it's almost there's nothing you're doing with your life and you don't deserve to sit with us.
And that's as a trainer or as a fitness enthusiast or as a bodybuilder?
Do they know there's a difference? There's no difference to them.
Okay.
And I remember the pressure that I was getting to prep. It was almost feeling like, you just don't want this badly enough. Which is absolute nonsense, because that's also how we treat our clients. And I think this was my post yesterday. I said this whole thing of us saying we all have 24 hours in a day. You just need the discipline. You're telling a lady who has 4 kids and a husband who wakes up at 4 a.m. in the morning to prepare everyone before she even has 20 minutes to herself to shower, that we all have the same 24 hours in a day, or you just need more discipline.
You don't want it bad enough.
Excuse me? And I felt that at that particular time, because I was made to feel like I didn't want this enough, or there can be a way to do this. But the thing is, by that time, the previous prep had already drained me so much in terms of finances. I was actually in a bit of debt. These are actually the things that people don't talk about. So now, not having a job, and then you're telling me I've not even recovered from the previous one. So here's the thing, with bodybuilding, you need a lot of, it's not just your kawaida eating, your supplements. You need to be financially stable for you to be able to prep for a show. I usually tell people, I don't understand, but again, the male bodybuilding is more attractive, but the amount of money that women spend on prep is much more. Not even on prep, on stage, a woman will be wearing 50,000 shillings.
Makeup.
You guys have no idea.
Because I've seen the shows and I'm like, a dude just needs to haircut.
Just touch.
Shorts,
you don't even need to cut your hair. Where?
Yeah.
See, if you have locks, you just put it nicely.
Yeah.
And then your trunks, which is probably, maybe in Kenya, you get it for 1,500. That's 2,000 a lot. Tan you share. Do you know, for ladies, our bikinis, there's no bikini you get, maybe. Our bikinis range, if you're getting a proper bikini, 15,000, 20,000 shillings. I am not kidding. I tell this to people all the time. They're shocked.
Wow.
A piece of bikini.
I thought you were going to say the makeup and the shoes. Kumbe, it's wow. Your
bikini is anywhere between 15 to 20,000, a proper bikini. Your shoes are anywhere between 7,000, 10,000, 12, 15. And it's not just any shoes. Your shoes have to be in a particular platform. Yeah. We don't have those locally. You have to ship them.
Wow.
Let's go to your makeup. Let's go to your hair. Let's go to your nails. Your tan. Your everything. It is so much. And I remember when I was undergoing that transition of moving from getting a full-time monthly salary. By that time, so the only thing that was sustaining me is I had, I think, 2 PT clients. So that's what I had. And the thing, get sponsors. The thing with sponsorships is that, which I find that very funny, sponsors will sponsor you when you win.
When you're at the top, yeah, of course.
And then now, that's the brand you're sponsoring, which is, to me, I thought sponsorship is supposed, I get what they're doing, but you're supposed to be able to say you've worked with me and you see, what does the word sponsor mean?
Yeah. It's like you're supposed to help me on the journey to get to the top.
You see?
But now you only want me when I'm at the top.
And then how can I even say that I'm sponsored by you?
Yeah, because we just began.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, for those who are saying, oh, you could have gotten a sponsor, that's how sponsorship
and
works.
In a small market like ours,
yeah,
chances are the number of people who can actually access those things is so
those
small.
things
Yeah.
is very small. You see, so that was my situation. So at that time, you see now, those things helped me see. In fact, that entire journey has just helped me become a better trainer, because being in those shoes, I was just like, no. So I said, I'm not doing Eldoret. Maybe I'm going to do 001, because those are shows that were back to back. Then at that time is when I got a client at Racing Sport Gym. And then now from there, things blew out. This is another thing where I'm saying for bodybuilding, it's a luxury, and people will make you feel like you just don't want it enough. You see, my schedule started to become busy, because at that time I had home clients. So in a day I was moving. I say in a day I cover about 15 to 16,000 steps involuntarily. Not training, just moving from session to session. I cannot afford to put my body through all that stress where I'm still trying to, you see. So that entire process made me realize, and I'd been thinking about it. I'd not talked about it a lot, because it's been, you realize you even need to mentally armor yourself when you're saying things like this, because this is how the fitness industry is out there. And you're talking about an industry that has very known and prominent people. Because we also, a couple of trainers won't admit to this, but this is true. We also get a lot of clients. I have like 3-4 clients from prominent bodybuilders who have been made to feel what I'm saying. And now I identify with them, and I'm telling them, they identify with my journey because I've been there. And now they've seen me transition to a more relatable.
It's such a superpower, by the way.
You see?
Yeah, I think you're poised to be such a voice for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because it's something that I think I've always had the sense that exists.
Yeah.
I've never been a bodybuilder or any kind of competitive anything, but I've frequented multiple gyms and I see how people are trained, and then I see the attitudes on the gym floor. And then I see like it's like when you get into any industry, there's the cool kids of that industry. Oh, there's a whole,
we run this. Who are you?
Yeah.
We run this thing. Who are you?
Yeah. So I've always had the sense of like, I see, I kind of see, I don't think, first of all, I'm a non-factor in all this.
In all of this.
Yeah, so I don't even count in any of this conversation, but I feel like that's happening. But to hear you confirm it, I'm like, wow, okay, so that exists.
It's a big thing to even now try and finding your footing as a coach in this very intense situation.
It's like Game of Thrones. It's like Game of Thrones of fitness. Yeah.
Goodness. But I'm really grateful because I've met people. The universe has aligned for me to meet people who are very helpful. And now over time, I think up to maybe October last year, I stopped looking at what everyone else was doing. And I think you've seen that circle of ours. Njuta being, hey, I called our mother the other day. She's like, excuse me, I'm more of an aunt who does not have very many responsibilities.
Rich auntie.
Oh, that she is. Yeah. Both of those things she is. Yeah. And Wamwere and our little circle have been of much help, and especially those two, Nduta and Rachel. Because things will happen. Because you see now, can you imagine me moving to a new gym? Already has its own trainers. Racing Sport is a name on its own. Getting there and getting clients. That was also now another, like solidifying yourself there. Myself there was a whole other ball game, but I thank God for the support that I've had. And here's the funny thing is because most of my clients are coming from my online spaces because of the content that I put out, and I'm very grateful. It's been very reasonable. And also I'm grateful because now, having lived both worlds, I can confidently say that I have the right to, if I say something, I know I am saying it. And I have come to a conclusion of, I've lived both worlds. this is where I'd like to stay now. Because you realize the way we've been selling fitness, it's fine, we've done it that way, but if you really don't don't put yourself in that position, that's not a very good thing.
That's why I thought starting something like this would be helpful.
It is. Congratulations.
And I feel like those are the kind of things I would like us to publicize more. Stories like yours. Because, and again, just like you're saying, when you put the intention out there, somehow things work out. And low-key, we spoke about this even before we started, just how you begin thinking that this is the lane you should go. Then the other direction you take, you see why you shouldn't have gone down that road.
You must tell you, stop right there. Can you please stop?
You're actually working against yourself going that road, you know? So, and the more you've explained things, the more it's sinking into my head. I'm like, there was a small part of me that felt that way. But sometimes when you start a project, you're just like, I just want to get it off the ground. But then it's like, if you push too hard on that, you end up going the wrong way and promoting the wrong message.
That's what's funny about the universe. You just need to know what. I read, as much as maybe this doesn't make sense, but because I understand and I look at life from that perspective, the how is not your job. You're doing God's work. Stop it. That's why we are stressed. You just need to know what. Say what you want. The how will come to you. Because now when you start controlling things, you end up messing things. You end up messing it up. Because then now the universe sends people to your way. This is what you thought you wanted. No, this is what I want you to have. If you control it, you're gonna mess it up. The what, just know the what, the how is not your problem.
Hey, that's so when are you becoming a preacher? Because
I already am.
It seems now theology degree comes next. It's like,
I already am.
I feel so encouraged by everything you've shared so far. I'm encouraged for the industry as a whole just because of the conversation we've had, because it also the things you validated about the suspicions I had make me want to double down on the fact that people need to know that fitness is not that deep. And those of us who thought it was and actually applied it have seen the negative effects.
Have seen it's not that complicated.
And we've seen that you stand to hurt yourself when you overcomplicate it, when you think that what you're seeing on Instagram is the norm, when you think that people are actually living like Instagram. It's not happening that way. And
the problem with social media is the algorithm. It will keep, you watch one thing, you follow one thing, it will keep, now your whole timeline, your TikTok, your Facebook, your Instagram and your YouTube are full of these things. So then now your brain thinks, this is what fitness is. Because the algorithm will keep sending you stuff like that.
Of course.
Follow one bodybuilder. You'll be getting suggestions for all of them. And then you think, this is what ideally fitness looks like. No, it's not. We need to be very careful about the things that we consume. And I'm glad that you are providing this platform, because if this doesn't exist, then whatever is there is whatever people are consuming over and over and thinking that is what fitness is. So this is the beginning of something. They watch this, they get some other content that's like this, and that's how we change this entire narrative.
Yes, indeed. First, just as an individual, I think you're very impressive.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate how open you are.
Thank you.
How, just even watching you for the short time I've gotten a chance to, you're very intentional and you're very good at communicating.
Thank you.
And I think that it's a privilege for me to be able to offer a platform to even hopefully help you with more.
Thank you.
That, you know?
Thank you. That's the goal.
I mean, and again, in line with what we hope to do is we're better together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the thing that we've been trying to do with our entire, we call it the masterclass circle, because it's a team of us, and we decided, because that's something else that's happening in our industry. There's so much unnecessary competition, and the competition is trainer to trainer, coach to coach. We don't realize that's very unnecessary, because you're not paying me money I'm not coaching you. I'm coaching the client,
and in fact the client is suffering as a result of
this. Now who we are supposed to be serving is suffering. Number two, we are supposed to be that's where our attention is supposed to be, not here. And with that small circle that Nduta put together, we realized, and we've had this now compliment from a couple of people. I've never seen people in the fitness industry or coaches that are promoting one person's event, because you feel like, if I come to your event, another person won't come to their person's event. But this is the thing. This is the thing with fitness. And this is also something else that Ntuta is very keen about. You need to choose, because when you come to fitness, you think you need to do everything. Do aerobics. I did that. Do aerobics, do Zumba, do strength training. Take people for a hike, take them to swimming, spin and class. Then spin class, and then you can, first of all, choose whatever it is you want to do. Specialize, do one thing, because then you're able to even delve more into that. You're able to become a better coach into one thing, because then you have more time and more resources to read about that one thing. You're able to specialize into that, because that's something in HR we used to talk about. And then we don't all offer the same thing. So why am I here not wanting to sharing your poster of a hike? I don't take people for hikes, but I won't share your poster because
you mentioned that the other day. You're like, you don't like hiking. So.
I don't. Okay, even if one of you takes me for hike, I won't go by there. I don't. It's not. I don't like hikes. Yeah. So why is it a problem for me to share maybe Mumba's poster who does hikes because she's another coach? I don't want people to go to. That is just nonsense. And what's funny is that we've realized a lot of us have had success pushing each other and other people's stuff, because our group everyone does, we all do fitness. But this is the thing. If I get a mom who just delivered and wants postpartum coaching, Stephanie. I don't do that. But Stephanie does that. My journey has been of weight gain. Okay. My journey hasn't been of weight loss fitness-wise, because now coming from martial arts, all we used to do is cardio, a lot of cardio and a lot of endurance. So it was very small. Not a lot of people are speaking about weight gain in the fitness industry and how dangerous it is for women to be underweight. We've glorified losing weight so much and being skinny. We think it's a good thing. It's not. Women's health, our menstrual health, which is so important to the way our bodies run because of things like our bone density depend on that. We think it's, you're skinny and no. But how many creators are putting out content like that? So when I met Nduta, she told me, why are you not talking about this? Because at some point when I was playing for the national team, we play in weight categories. I used to play under 50 or 50 to 55 kgs. And I didn't notice it because for me, weight gain wasn't intentional. I think this was from around 2020 to around 2022. I'd gained 15 kgs. Now, when you talk about gaining weight in women, it sounds, my God, it's a bad thing. But for me to have been able to gain it and to look like this, which was not me, I didn't realize it was a thing. She's like, excuse me, why are you not talking about this? So that's the thing, pushing each other. The point is pushing each other. You see, now I have a different story. When Stefan meets someone like that, they push them to me. I don't do boot camps. Akina Vini do boot camps every Saturday. I've had people from Vini's class come to my women who lift. You see, we all gain from it. But now the battle that's there in the opposite side in our industry is, I can't push your content because do you think you're better than me? Or there's that whole thing. But when you realize your worth and your value and you solidify whatever it is that you stand for as a brand, you realize this is not a point of competition. In fact, I stand to benefit more from now doing something like this.
Hey, I feel like this was a master class. This itself was a master class for me. Like, oh God. Seriously, I nitauliza M-Pesa baadaye so that I can. Hey, I mean, you're so right. Just thinking back to the things I doubted about myself, and maybe some of the ways I thought I had to approach my contribution to the fitness industry. Okay. And I think that's probably something a lot of people go through. So thank you. Thank you. No, I think you've really you spat some truth today. And it's a lot of stuff to reflect on. We have to do like a part 2 because I feel like there's still so much we haven't talked about.
I think so. I'm also very surprised. I didn't know there was that much.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised.
Yeah, no, kudos to you. I think I love your self-awareness.
Yeah.
I love your message. I think your message is valuable and it's needed.
Thank you.
Especially to have a team of women like you guys who are demystifying fitness, simplifying it for people, making it accessible.
That's our goal.
Yeah, that is really, and this show, that's one of the main goals, is to make fitness accessible.
Yeah.
Follow her page, which is Body by
Queen on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. We'll put the things so they can follow. You have the new page with Wamwere as well. You guys are partnering.
Yes, we do. We have. So now, of course, most of our journeys have been. We just found out that apparently, our lower bodies are something that are to be envied. And
if you want to grow your nyash, this is who you should talk to.
Let me tell you, it's how I was just ignorant about it. Like, I had no idea, because I admit women, and I get asked this question at least once in the gym. Even guys would ask me, are you sure this is you? This is just genetics. I have had that question a couple of times, but then I'm like, my quads and my hamstrings match. But it's just genetics, I'm sure. And then I show them a photo of me 2 years ago. They're like,
it's possible.
How? Yeah. So we and Rachel came together because those have been both our journeys. And it's questions that we ask the most. How do I lift my calves? Because a lot of fitness content that's out there for women is weight loss.
Yeah, true.
And weight loss comes with, and we need to validate. We need to stop looking at women wrongly. When they tell you, don't touch here, don't touch my. It's a valid concern. And those are the things that we're saying where just the previous fitness mentality is, you can't choose where, and there's some truth to it, but you need to be very careful on how you approach. You're seeing it from a coach's perspective. You know that when she loses weight, she has to lose weight as a whole. All this happens, you might lose, but you need to translate that in a language that she's going to understand, that it's fine. You'll keep your body like this. So that's how we're trying to do it with Rachel, because you need to speak it in a language your audience, for us, which is women, understand. Because a lot of women out here are not looking to, and it's the conversation, I don't want muscle. Women are very, I don't want muscle.
Look like a man.
But you as a trainer know the toned look they're looking for
is muscle.
But how do they don't need to be convinced of that. You need to just get them in long enough to train them to see the results, but they don't need to know that it's muscle.
Yeah.
It's fine if they call it toning. Kwani, it will change.
That's true.
It won't change.
Toning has become like a curse word now.
It's fine. Let them. What's the harm if they call it toning? You as a trainer know it's muscle. What's the harm in them calling it toning? The thing with fitness is we think as fitness professionals, the way we see things, everyone has to see them. You have to speak a language in which your audience understands. Otherwise, you're speaking to yourself. And this is where coach, since this might be a bragging point, because it's again thanks to Nduta, because since I rebranded and changed that, I have never had to look for clients, PT clients. No. Even for women who lift.
Yeah.
You see the way you put out an event and you're not sure if people will come, if you're not sure. I had no pressure with that event. Women showed up. They're like, they sold for me that event, because someone would send this thing to someone and like, I didn't start my fitness, whatever, because I was thinking it's going to be hard and everything. Fine, it's going to be hard, but I like the way you put it, that it's relatable and they'll tell you their story. Now you have them. Let them come to class and learn. You see? So, we have that thing where we are, and we actually have an event, I don't know whether it's going to come out, but every 2 months, we'll be having, I know I've said I'll be having events 3 times in a month, and then now Rachel and I will be having events every other month, which is every 2 months.
Okay.
To basically teach women how to, again, lift for their calves, grow their bum and legs. It's going to be a very interesting journey.
Nice. So you said your event will be thrice a month or
thrice a year. That's beginning of the year. Month. Okay. Sorry, this event are many.
Just to clarify.
Thrice, women who lift is thrice in a year.
Okay.
Beginning to show people women how to make resolutions that stick and to lift with their calves. And then the mid-year one is to have a check-in, and because I'm keeping them accountable for their goals, progress. And then the end year one is really just a very fun one. We're probably going to go out to dinner to celebrate what we've done the entire year. And then Rachel and I would be doing events every 2 months, because then now for legs and for booty growth, it's really a lot of work. So you guys are welcome to join us in one of those workshops.
Wow. Thank you for so much wisdom. I feel like I need a moment to really digest so much we've talked about, but I'm so appreciative.
Thank you.
You really made my day today.
Yeah.
So please follow her, Body by Queen. The new page with Wamera is...
it's the boutique, but really, it's if you follow me and you follow her,
you'll find it. Yes.
You're
nice. Good stuff. I am so grateful for your time. I'm grateful for everyone who's been a part of this so far.
Yeah.
This episode has been very reflective. It's not been a very fitness necessarily focused episode.
I think so.
But I think it's a rendition of what I hoped this would be.
Okay.
And I really appreciate that, because I think another part of this whole conversation is people to understand that this is about life too. It's not just about reps and sets.
There's more to life.
There's so much more to life. And just because you're a quote-unquote gym rat, it doesn't mean that that's all you're doing in your life. Some of you are fathers, mothers.
In fact, if that's all you're doing, then you really have no balance.
You don't have a life.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we do this to improve our lives as a whole. And I think you've captured that so beautifully with your story and just how relatable you are.
Yeah.
So, man, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to having you again, so we can talk about all the 1,000 other things we didn't talk about.
Hopefully, as I've started my book.
Maybe you can come promote it. But karibu tena. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And until the next episode, thank you so much for joining us. This is the Shujaa Fitcast. Catch you on the next one. Peace out. Thank you for listening to the Shujaa Fitcast. For more information and business inquiries, email us at shujaafitnesswarrior@gmail.com. Follow us on social media at Shujaa_fitness on Instagram, at Shujaa Fitness on Facebook and TikTok, and subscribe to our channel at Shujaa Fitness on YouTube. For audio versions of this podcast, check us out on Spotify, Boomplay, and Apple Podcasts. This show was recorded and produced at the Represented Studio in Nairobi, Kenya. Special thanks to Lucid for the background music.